are you teaching Africans how to lead or how to obey?
If there's any group of people on earth who are strong, emotionally intelligent, are the African leaders. Because how do you explain sitting in the same room with somebody who killed your mother and your son and still be at peace?
So when millions go missing and the truth only comes out after the damage is actually done, so is that a sign that we still lack emotional intelligent leaders in the country?
I think it's both emotional intelligence and leadership lacking in us. Because emotional intelligence is to learn how to manage your emotions in relation to the emotions of other people. So now, if you can only think about yourself, there's an adage that says, in the forest, if scientists find monkeys, when they get the baboon, when they get the monkeys and they throw bananas there, then this monkey wants to eat all the bananas alone. So that monkey is suspected to be having certain dysfunctions that they, because they need to be in a team. They need to work as a group. When one monkey is on top of the tree, the other one is under. The one that is on top can see the lion, and the one that is under may see a snake. So human beings are social beings. We were supposed to look after each other because we're given, an instinct that other animals do not have, and that is care, love, and support. So if a person only think of, let me get all this money in order to get all my personal ambitions, which are never ending, the cars will never be enough, houses will never be enough, clothes will never be enough. So these things are unending. So if you only think about yourself, then there's a limitation to, to be a matured human being. Number one, emotionally. Secondly, you cannot lead other people by thinking only about yourself, because you serve the customers, you serve the stakeholders, you serve the communities. So all these need to be taken care of in order for the business to be sustainable. So if you deprive them, that means that there's a point where the resources will get depleted.
And then everything also
crumbles down.
Crumbles down. Yeah. So, okay. So thank you so much for that. So, and Master Ngombe as well, I will also be honest, like I heard whispers, a little bit of whispers about you yourself and what you do. But I want to start really from the beginning, begin afresh with this conversation. So who is Augustino Ngombe beyond the titles and the accolades?
Augustino Ngombe is a typical village boy. I was born and raised in the village. I went to school I never went to kindergarten.
Oh.
Grade 1 right through to 12 in the village. And I grew up in a very small village called Gamade, 30 kilometers west of Rundu as we are driving towards Nkurenkuru. So that's where I was born and raised, went to school, completed my school there. So I have a passion of wanting to understand human behavior, human nature, so that it can allow me to also understand how we are interrelated. Why do we create systems? So that is the passion that have led me to do research and then write the first book, which was titled Leadership and Knowledge. But then it was based on biblical perspective. The main reason is leadership without moral and principle is not leadership. So the second book, which was written, was on emotional intelligence. But the editor looked at the title and the content that was in the book. He said, we are going to reverse it. We'll not call it emotional intelligence, but we'll rather say being intelligently emotional. So, but this was based on African philosophy called Ubuntu. So I'm fully married, full time.
What do you mean?
There's no part time in marriage. Yeah, fully married, and I am a teacher by profession, trained teacher and trained administrator.
Yeah.
So I'm mentioning administration because I happened by accident to end up in a class where they were teaching um, business administration. I did my postgraduate, did an MBA. At current, I'm pursuing my PhD in operations management. So all these are into management science and in partly leadership, business leadership. I love Namibia. I love Namibia. I love Africa because these two sports were born in me, not because I was born in Namibia, but they were born inside my heart. I've traveled a little bit. So every time I go abroad, outside Africa, you would begin to now realize how important it is for you to be in Africa. You can talk about food, look at the culture, you look at how people are slowly becoming robotics, where you have a neighbor and the neighbor can fall sick, die, and you'll be there, not care about that specific person. In Africa, this is a taboo.
Yeah.
So I think we are more human, and you know that natural instinct is still working in us. That's why I love Africa. I love Namibia. There are also more opportunities in Africa. That's why we have more problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. And I think you will only realize that there are actually a lot of opportunities in Africa once you travel out.
Yes.
Because you will see how other countries outside Africa are actually living and how they're actually surviving. And you're like, we actually have land in Africa. We actually, and you're like, and it's very strange when a person, no, I had a neighbor for 15 years, but I don't even know the person's name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that possible? The culture that we are.
You wake up, you don't greet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, wow.
But you're working together.
But you're working together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, okay, but yeah. So, like, I think you also, like, not I think, but you mentioned that you are a teacher by profession as well, which we can call somebody's dream job, to have like a government job. It's like a dream for so many people.
Yeah.
So, but you walked away from being a teacher.
Yes.
So
Happily.
Yeah, happily. But I would like really love to know, like, what did that moment feel like? Was it courage, desperation, or something else that like forced you?
I think there was nothing bad that happened to me to have left the teaching job.
Yeah.
I left teaching at my highest peak when I was in demand.
Oh.
So the moment I realized that I built the network and I was in demand, I left. Because the danger of having to overstay is that you may lose what attracts people and you begin to do certain things because the ego has grown in you. But I taught for almost a decade. I started teaching in the village, to be specific, in Oshiperongo. This is around about 70, 80 kilometers northwest of Omaruru. So I stayed there for 8 months, and then I was headhunted by Windhoek International School. I taught there for a year. I was not satisfied. So I left that job, and I joined an informal settlement school that was established in Havana. And it was a project school. So I had to leave the aircon, smart board, the internet, and I joined the colleagues or the comrades in tents. But I was happy serving in tents than any other places where I served. Because to teach is to touch lives. That's the motto of the faculty of education at UNAM. So, and this is also the motto within the Namibian constitution, that we need to touch the lives of the Namibian children. And the best place I felt children needed to feel this touch was in the disadvantaged environment, where kids have almost lost hope, homeless in this regard, not that they don't have home, but they have child-headed homes. Some are abused, some the parents are absent, some of them, they witness gender-based violence. They sleep in a house where there's no toilet and running water. So if I had to breathe life into someone, I do not think I would breathe that life in a child who is having everything. But I can best breathe life in a child who is about to lose hope in life.
Give them hope. That's quite interesting. And like also I also just want to know, like maybe probably after leaving your job or after like everything, because like okay, like the word rock bottom is a word that we kind of like throw around, but I'm really curious for you, what did your personal rock bottom look like, and how did you mentally, emotionally and spiritually climb out of it?
It did not happen overnight. I think getting emotional intelligence again, remind us that we need to be aware of ourselves. We need to know our strengths, our weaknesses. We need to know our opportunities and our threats.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at this whole big picture about myself while I was teaching. I'm a biology teacher, but I took a risk to get out of the comfort of science. I joined commerce. That's how I got in the MBA class. So after I completed this, that could mean that I could really do and take over any management post. But I've already made up my mind that I did not want to grow into the career of, being an HOD, principal, inspector, director. So the list goes on. I already made up my mind that I was going to do something that was different. Why am I saying that? In 2018, I was an acting HOD for science. But if I want, I would pursue that and become a full-time HOD and then eventually become a principal.
Yeah.
I used to interact. I used to be at the meetings where the directors, the directorate of education, the headquarter would meet. I would go to minister's office. I would go to executive director's office. So that means I was positioned to be able to grow in my career in the ladder. But I felt I would rather be a partner to the government, partner to education, and complement the government than being an employee. Because sometimes, you are called to create and you remain in a position where other people are called to only be the employee. So when you be there, then you deprive other people whom you could have given the employment. Now we are having more people who are afraid of the outside, that if they start the ventures, maybe it would fail. But then if we reverse that, what if it works? And then you could employ 10 others or 20 other people. Now, the fact that you are staying in that position, that means you are closing the opportunity for 20, 50, 100 others who are supposed to be employed by you. So the earlier you realize what you are called to do, the better it is, not only for you, but for community, for the region where you come from, or in the region where you stay, and for the government as well.
But I would really love to know, like when you left your job, your comfort zone, did you have a plan and did it work, or like how?
I did have a plan. I did my postgraduate studies and I worked from 2017. I was already a graduate with an MBA, meaning I could look for a job outside teaching.
Yeah.
But I did not want to do that. I wanted to practice. I wanted to serve at the place where I was placed, which was a school in the informal settlement. Mind you, they were intense. They needed strong, spirited teachers to keep on pointing them to the future. So from 2016, when I joined the school, I felt I would only be able to leave when the school is completed, because I look at my work as the project. So the project has the beginning and has the end. So if the school is completed and I continue, that means I'm outside a project that was started, unless I start another project again to find out as to what I want to be able to deliver. So I had to leave when the school was fully completed. And I went for Mandela Washington Fellowship in 2022. I was in the US for 6 weeks. So I had to expand my network beside the local network that I had. So now I needed to expand it. And I had a network in South Africa. I was in touch with a professor at UNISA. You know, we sat down and we crafted the vision of a vocational school model that will serve Africa, because this is the century for Africa. And it's for the African to stand up and take advantage of the time and opportunity we have to be able to create what need to be created.
Yes.
African, intertrade that is happening now. I was thinking to myself, what is the strength that we have that we can model local and export it everywhere? So these are the things that made me to say, yeah, I'll be hungry. I will be able to have bills which will not be paid on time. At some point, it would not be easy for me to move from one point to the other. But let us grow this idea that we have started, that we have conceived, and see how far it will go. So that was the rock bottom, that you were having every 20th a fixed salary.
Yeah.
Now you suddenly resign. Unfortunately, I had a house which I did not pay for 10 years. So when you resign, the pension, the home loan have got an agreement with the bank to say, until this person work for this time, then you can be giving them their pension fully. But if they did not work until this time, so they need to pay back the 20% agreement that the government has with the bank. I never read that clause until I resigned. And then immediately when I resigned, so the HR will go through the papers. And then one day called me and said, did you read this clause in the home loan? I said, what are you talking about? I have already budgeted on the money that was going to come from GIPF. Just to be disappointed and be told that 95% of the money will be going to the bank because of the home loan that I have. So now the whole dream, the whole plan is shattered. So I need to start all over to think of how I will be surviving with the family.
Sure. Did you think of going back to school, going back to teaching?
I mean, it was very scary, because now I was thinking, if I go back, the vision will die. So should I nurture the vision, or I go back into the comfort zone?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sure. Imagine, like the whole dream is shattered and the whole money is gone.
Overnight.
And then you have now to go back to the drawing board and come up with another plan.
Yes.
Oof, oh my goodness. Okay, so like you have also spoken about the comfort of a salary being a trap as well. So because mostly people stay in jobs that they hate simply because of the paycheck and the comfort zone that comes with it as well. And you have spoken about that. So why do you believe that comfort zone can be dangerous for visionaries, and even more so far for African leaders?
I think comfort zone steal from us the privilege we have in our instinct that we can make things come to life. We imagine and bring things to life.
Yeah.
So when you imagine, it becomes comfortable to just think about the idea. Now, if you stay there, that means that idea will never come to life. So you have to take a risk to say, let me speak to other people to hear about this idea. Whether they buy in or not, it's not your business. It's their business. It's not in your control. It's in their control.
Yeah.
So for me, comfort zone have stolen a lot from Africans, because we cannot start manufacturing or inventing our own small cars. We cannot start inventing our own small phones simply because we look at where others are and think of the smaller steps we are going to take. So this steals from us, from the invention side, the economic side, even our natural medicines that we used to have. When the pharmaceutical have arrived, now we are too scared to call this cuckoo that is in the village, who knows specific type of plants, which could be turned into medications and be produced at a large scale. Because now we are thinking, but they are big pharmaceutical. Where will mine be? But these people have been surviving by using these plants, these roots that have helped them to cure maybe cancer. So now that comfort zone have robbed us, having to bring up scientists who can be able to solve our own problems. Again, our comfort zone have robbed us from raising our own entrepreneurs who become big businesses that lead into big conglomerates that can explore our minerals, that can extract the hydrogen. Now, when we look at invention, when we look at investment, we only see outside. We don't look within. Whenever we talk about investment, we don't talk local. We are thinking of where is this big person with a lot of money who will come and invest. But those people, they do not necessarily have the money. They just have courage and they have got structured ideas. They sell it to the people who have money and they invest in them so that they start the businesses that they have. So now this value chain that we have lost because of the comfort zone is the one that we need to confront now in order for us to rebrand, to reform, to restructure Namibia and African continent in order for it to become what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, what it was supposed to be. And I'm also now just wondering, because even for the big African business people, or just like the Africans themselves, do they even ever also think about investing in their own people as well, and valuing the ideas and the innovations that these young Africans are coming up with?
I attended today, I think, African branding something. Somebody who is very passionate about the, African brands, emerging and being consumed by the Africans and selling this brand to the world. And the one thing that struck me was, we don't like what we produce. What we produce, we don't like. We only like what other people produce. But what we forget is that the more we consume other people's product, the more we take money out of us and not have money enough to be able to invest into the new ideas that we have. But if I come here on this talk show, for instance, we are now trying to localize the consumption of the content that is being produced. This could have been at, is it CCN?
Yeah, CNN.
Or CNN or BBC. But you can imagine if we have greater minds coming on this platform. Then what this means is that this whole podcast become bigger. And when it become bigger, we know where Elizabeth stay. We know the people that look up to her. There are people who have never seen a television, but because of the phone that has got that is owned by a cousin of Elizabeth that they can be able to access, they are now getting the inspiration to say, I can also do this. I can become bigger. I can become greater. So I think Africans need to rethink, what do we really want? How can we become competitors in the world if we don't value what we have? And as we speak, 60 to 65% of arable land in the whole world is in Africa. But we look up to outside, even countries that are in the desert, to look after us, to donate food. How can we change this kind of mindset? I think we need to remove the comfort zone and be courageous to be able to do things.
Yeah, and also, like, when you also see African countries going to European countries, like conferences and stuff like that, I don't know how we market ourselves or how we come forward. We are poor African, we are a poor country and we need help with this and this. So I'm like, why do we come forward with that instead of like, okay, we are this small country or we are this certain country, but this is what we can offer?
In my second book, Being Intelligently Emotional, I think I walked back all of us as Africans to remind us that Not many years ago, we were commodities like bread, sold. They did not care about your name. They gave you a number as an identity, a product to be sold somewhere. So when we transitioned from slavery, we went immediately into colonization. And colonization means, there's a governance that there's a nation that have invaded your space, and they try to change your culture to reflect them. And you need to comply to what they have set as the instruments, as the definition of living, as the identity of living. Now, after colonization, that's when we got the political independence. How old is Namibia? 35.
35.
Right?
Yeah.
35 years, you cannot reverse immediately and erase things that were done 500 years. So there's a lot that we need to do. So when we arrived on a block, now we must be equal to people who enslaved us, people who colonized us. So to do this reverse, it takes consciousness, us to be aware of where we are and where we are coming from. If we are to be in denial, it becomes a problem. Because when you are a servant, you don't think of where will the money come from. You only think of how much will I be paid. Now, after independence, we were expected to take the ownership and look for that money which need to be paid, to look for money that need to procure things, to look for money that maintain things. So this need a real awakening, real consciousness for us to be able to get there. But yes, we have transitioned from being goods, products on a shelf, to being in charge of our own affairs. This psychology, it requires intentionality. It requires us to, to take risks. This intentionality need to be accompanied by, self-respect, self-value that will enable us to rise up and become the people that we need to be. But it will take time.
It will really take time, because sometimes I kind of like want to say, okay, I understand why our African leaders are the way they are, because you look at all, like most of African countries, we are in the similar situation, and our leadership are mostly similar. Because I'm like, okay, these leaders, it's mostly just people that went for they went to fight and they went to do stuff like that, and they just came into leadership because they had leadership position and they had that experience where they were fighting for the country and all that. I'm like, I do understand, because these people didn't get training. These people, most of them didn't get the education that we got. And most of us now, the young people, you go for conferences, you go for leadership training, you go for things like that, and you get exposed. But did our leaders really get that exposure? And also, like, when they are signing these contracts, then when it comes to mining and stuff, these big deals, do they understand? And I'm like, probably they don't. They are just thinking they are doing it for the benefit of our country. But I'm also now looking at our young people that are now also educated, that are exposed, and then they are put in leadership and they do worse.
I think leadership does not have respect of age. And evil thing does not have respect of age. We have got evil people, young and old. And we have leadership instilled in people, both young and old. So if we are to look at the quality of thinking, it will then distinguish as to who of us, this is what the Asian people, the Japanese do. One day, I think one African was having same questions as you at an international conference. And said, but why is it that most of the Asian countries are progressing and African countries are not progressing? Said, when the Japanese sit, they look amongst themselves, if they are 10, only one of the best, one of the wisest lead the 10 of them. In Africa, when we sit in the room, sometimes we choose the one who does not have quality thinking to lead us. Yeah, so because our glass ceiling is too short, because of the thinking of the person is shallow, so no matter how tall you are, you need to bend to obey the nature, the law of nature, that you cannot be taller than the ceilings. So Africans need to begin to select the best amongst them, to lead them, and not necessarily to say anyone can be able to take leadership. Leadership is risky. Leadership has got so many responsibilities.
Yeah.
Leadership, take a person reflecting, thinking back and forth to be able to make decisions. Leaders are never liked. Most of the best leaders are never liked. You only think about them in the absence. When they die, now you realize, oh my goodness. So this guy was really doing a good job. But when
Who
you
was
are like
here?
most criticized, most not liked,
Yeah.
and most disrespected people, because everyone has an opinion, but not everyone can stand and decide. Decision making is hard than any other activities that we do in life.
That we're doing. Interesting. And as Namibians, because I'm now looking at our leadership, okay, probably not leadership, but as Namibian in general, do you think, because we are known as like a peaceful country, and we don't like to be associated with things that are like, we don't speak up. Can that also be like a danger to the country, or can also that be not getting our leaders, no, not taking our leaders accountability, or not actually? So I'm not sure how to phrase my question, but not what is the what
Not
is
standing up.
not standing up, and also holding our leaders accountable for the sake of having peace, or for the sake of like being respectful.
I think let me take it back to the first question that you asked, as to whether our leaders really care enough for us when they are signing this agreement.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they have no choice. We want to explore and get the oil. Who amongst us has money or courageous to be able to invest this money, risk this money? There's a chance that we'll get oil, and there's also a chance that we'll not get oil.
Yeah.
So you may lose or gain. So when this idea is sold to the locals, everyone backs off. They leave the government alone. But then the policy says the government was not supposed to be in charge of the operations, the productions. The government is limited by the policies, by the law that we have established ourselves, that it was not supposed to do direct business. It need to do it through its own citizens. Now, if the citizens are not courageous enough, it makes the government look like they are not interested to let people be able to take part. And if you were to say that, no, but we always collect billions of money.
Yeah.
And these billions of money that we have in the coffer, why can't we take maybe 50 billion and invest in the oil? Okay, let's say the oil does not work out. Who will pay the bills for the doctors who are taking care of the people? Who will pay the salaries of the teachers? Who will be able to look after the elderly ones who are getting salary? That pension funds, that 1.6 is very important. So now we don't think about all these elements. We only think about, there's oil. Why didn't the government invest in the oil? Why didn't the government invest in the green hydrogen? The government cannot take such risks because of the social aspect that they have. They need to take care of the social aspect. If the government make any mistake that they disregard the social aspect, we will be at war with each other. So I think that is one of the difficulties the government have. So needs do not wait. They need to be fulfilled right now and then. And then some of this investment, if they do not sign these agreements, where are they going to get the revenues that come into the government coffers? So should they wait until when we decide one by one to say, now we are going to invest, maybe at a very small scale, Now, how will we survive, all of us?
All of us, yeah, that's so
What
true.
will happen to the roads? What will happen to the security forces that we have? So we have territorial responsibilities. We've got economic responsibilities. But for us to be able to even think of wanting to become investors, we need to be healthy. We need to eat.
Yeah.
We need to be at peace.
Yeah, and have shelter and everything.
So
yeah.
these are the things that limit our government to not participate a lot. Sometimes when we talk and point fingers, we must also sit down and say, what is the quality of thinking? And what is the courage that we have amongst the Namibian citizens? Are we courageous enough?
I don't
Can we
think
take
so.
the risks? Because it's us taking the risks that makes Namibia as a country to be the greatest nation. Not maybe the government. The government is us. We are teachers, we are doctors, we are engineers, we are what? So it's us who need to bring this on board to make that quality. Now, coming back to the thing of we are very peaceful. We do not hold the leaders accountable.
You can't speak up against the elders or the...
I think over the years we have seen that there are certain individuals who have tried to do it. But the way Namibia was organized by the founding fathers is that we are a lawful country, not a lawless country. So any grievances that we have, there are certain channels that we can be able to take them through in order for us to solve problems. We don't have to ban the whole country to be able to solve problems. We can dialogue, we can be angry at each other, we can be able to have, verbal fight and agree. Because even if we are to fight, in the end, we'll still need to sit down and discuss to agree. So I think that is one of the nature that we need to be proud of. We've seen in many years the youngsters have brought the country or the government to account, through courts, and they win the cases. Whether it's the ruling party, whether it's the government, they would win. Even the case of the red line, it looks like it's slow, but gradually something is changing. Now, I read in the newspaper that they will allow dry meat to come from the north. It was never there. So it's progressively happening. So the people who are pushing these narratives in a very structured way, in a very lawful way, need to be encouraged than us being chaotic and say, let's pick guns, shoot each other, and then bring the solutions. That will never solve the problem, but will bring us 100 steps back.
Yeah, that's so true. And I just want us to go back also like a little bit, but also just focusing on emotional intelligence. So after you went through everything, like your journey, the financial losses, the rebuilding from scratch, did you find emotional intelligence in book or in the pain of experience?
Knowledge that is not active cannot help you. You may know that I don't need to insult an elder, but if you don't actively practice that, so your knowledge is useless and meaningless. So the emotional intelligence really that I penned down in the book was out of the experience that I had, not after I have resigned. I think it was the preparation towards the resignation, because I went through soul searching, remembering the last days that I spent with my grandfather. So he passed on immediately when I finished my grade 12. I spent a week with him. So his concern was, how will we live after he has gone? So his aspect was on the human element. How will you be able to live with people? So one thing that he taught me as a principle, he said, you will never be able to change people. People will change when they want to change. That brings comfort to me, because, we go about and say, oh, this person must stop doing these things and must stop doing that. It will stress and frustrate you for the rest of your life. What you can do is to continuously have the principle of water. You keep on passing until the rock gives up. You shape it, you break the rock, you break the mountain by being consistent. You present yourself in the manner and the value that you have laid down, and every other things will eventually fall in place. When they realize I'm on the wrong side, they will eventually come back to the right side. So, but that aside, so emotional intelligence reminded me of my strength, the skills that I had that I could be able to take advantage of. I had the writing skills, I had the speaking skills, and I was trained. I was not just a person who lost the job because I am unskilled. I am a fully fledged professional who could walk into and be able to sell my skills. So eventually, I spoke at several events, and I was noticed when I spoke at one of the voluntary events that I was invited to speak at. And then in the midst, there was a senior coordinator at short courses at NAST. And immediately when we were in break, the first break, she reached out and said, but tell me something, who are you and where do you live? I said, no, I live here in Ubuntu. I'm a Namibian. And, yes, but I've been looking for a person like you to do the trainings. I said, yeah, I'm available. So we exchanged the number. She bought the 2 books, and she did not do it. Maybe somebody will be listening and say, you see, this is the corruption that is happening in the country. I already narrated that I am a fully qualified teacher who went ahead to acquire an MBA. So this qualification can allow me to do the trainings. So now when this opportunity found me, I was prepared. So she buys the book, take my number and say, I will call you when we need a trainer. So 3 weeks after, I was called to sign a contract, and I started training at NAST. So it's not a weekly thing, it's not a monthly thing, but when it comes, it helps you to offset the bills that have accumulated. And that is how I've been surviving. You speak here, you train there, and it helped to keep the family in balance. All I'm saying is that do not take a risk if you are not prepared. You must be conscious that opportunities are always there. Prepare yourself so that the opportunity find you ready.
So you don't want to be found by an opportunity and you're not ready for it.
Yes, because one of the element of emotional intelligence is to be proactive. The reason why you need to be aware of yourself, to be aware of other people, is to know how to position yourself, to negotiate with others, to fit into the team, and to negotiate with others to buy into the ideas that you have, so that when you make decisions, it's not always conflict.
Good. So would you say that if you have experience or if you have skills, opportunities will be there for you?
There are plenty of opportunities, even in Namibia, where the unemployment rate, the last time I checked, is youth unemployment rate is at 44%. There are people who are having jobs and serving on boards as we speak, and they are young. So, and then there are those ones who are unable to find because they have not positioned themselves. I'm not saying there are employments that can accommodate all of us, but I'm also saying unemployment doesn't mean lack of opportunities. Opportunities are right there.
It's true. And for those that might be unfamiliar with the word of emotional intelligence, what is emotional intelligence, especially in the African leadership context?
Emotional intelligence, in simple definition, is Ubuntu. I am because you are. So I do not exist in your absence. I exist because others exist. Right now, there's somebody who is taking care of the cameras. And we are here discussing. So without him, we cannot have this podcast. So we need each other in life. And that is the whole summary of emotional intelligence. that no matter how bad this person look, there's something good in them. No matter how low this person may look, there's something that they may be able to contribute on a table. Are we able to invite each other and listen to each other to know what are the unique contributions? Because when I can manage my fear, then I can allow the other person.
Yeah.
But if I cannot manage my fears, and if I cannot manage my, my cultural limitations, then I will never know what Oshuambo can offer to me. I will never know what Oshiherero can offer to me. So there's something good in every chaotic things, in every things that we dislike. There's something hidden that is good that we need to reach out to, not only seeing the bad part.
Yeah. That's so quite interesting. And would you say that African leaders are capable of emotional intelligence, or are we confusing charisma and control with true leadership?
If there's any race, if there's any group of people on earth who are strong emotional intelligence, are the African leaders. Because how do you explain sitting in the same room with somebody who killed your mother and your son and still be at peace? They may seem to be having their own loopholes.
Yeah.
We may be lacking, financial management and resource management here. It's part of the learning. But for them to have forgiven those who have colonized, those who have caused pain, those who have stolen, those who are still stealing, and still have peace, that marks maturity in them.
That's quite interesting. And if you could like just be very specific, probably like in your view, how would an emotional intelligent African president, fully emotionally intelligent African president, or a minister or a teacher act differently from what we often see today?
I think reducing ourselves to beggars is unintelligent. Reducing ourselves to be at the receiving end is unintelligent. Reducing ourselves to be the consumers only is unintelligent. Reducing ourselves to be unworthy to start something and do something is unintelligent. So how do we begin to say we can forgive, we can be at peace with you, but we have values which we need to hold? Sometimes we feel pity and we feel bad on behalf of our leaders because we respect them, we value them when they are here. When they go outside the country, they are treated like high school kids. And you can imagine if your parents are treated that way, how bad you feel like. And we see some of their peers who don't even respect them.
Yeah.
And these things are too painful to the youngsters. Then the earlier the leaders realize that what happened at a larger scale affect the smaller scale, the better it becomes for Africans. So when you go there and acting like you are beggars and you don't have strength, how can your children, whom you have devalued, become valuable? So until you start respecting yourself, until you start standing up for them, there will be no rising of Africans. One day I had a conversation, said, when you African leaders, as our elders, speaking to one of the elders, when you say other people's fathers and mothers will come and invest in us, have you ever built a home where you expect another person to come and feed your children? Said no. Said okay. So now, how do you expect other people to invest and make us the best, better than their own countries?
Yes.
Because this is the literal meaning, that other people will invest here and pour everything because they have a lot of things to come and be able to give to us. They have got their nations to take care of. They have their children. They have their citizens to look after. So the earlier we begin to build our own things, which will circulate here, the better it is for us, because there's no free lunch on earth. Everything that you eat, even the free one, you will pay for it.
For it, in one way or another.
Yeah.
It's quite, because I'm like, how do we as Africans it's like, I don't know if we see the value that we have or the value that our own people are. Because also, like, when it comes to opportunities as well, you only, mostly especially with young people, and you only really be recognized or be valued when somebody from outside start recognizing you and valuing the skills that you have.
I think it's first historically, like what I've explained, from slavery to colonialism or colonization. These things have reduced us to, we are now competing on petty things, like how many cars do you have? Can a car be able to take care of us? No. So it's good to have cars, but then can we transform the money we are investing in cars into investing in the ideas of the youngsters? If you go in the US, they've got Silicon Valley. Do we have a Silicon Valley of Namibia where the rich put money in a pool and say, when a young Namibian who is capable, has an idea, this pool will be able to take care of their ideas and build the communities. We had that aircraft that is disembodied at ECN. The young men who have invented a phone that does not need any SIM card. Because of, the nature of, I must be the only uncle who drives cars, who tells people what to do at the wedding and funerals. We don't see the value of raising these people. But, the beauty of nature is that everything the nature has was not for itself. Because mango trees do not produce fruits to eat their own fruits. The sun does not shine for itself. Rivers do not flow for themselves. So every single thing in nature does it for others, except as human who are centered on ourselves. I must have my cars. I must have 20 houses. And you have only slept in 2 houses in 2 years. The rest of the houses are accumulating spiders and these wild others are homeless. How do you sleep at night? And why should someone not be able to break in and steal if you are depriving them from what they must enjoy as citizens?
Okay, and my next question, I actually want us to move to emotional blind spot and cultural challenges that we face as an African continent. What emotional blind spots do you believe hold our leaders back, and how can they be overcome?
The issue of not learning from the past is one of the emotional blind spots. Because when you are emotionally awakened to the weaknesses that you have, you work hard to improve your weaknesses, to pull them to the strength. Now, in the past, there was assimilation where if you, let me be specific, during colonialism, if they identified that you are doing better, they will take you out of the community and make you feel like you are a different person. You are the only black who is able to drive a car. You are the only person who is educated. You are the only person who is able to go to town freely. So now this blind spot are still happening in here, in this era, where you are the only person who is able to access certain funds. You are the only person who can start businesses. You are the only person who can do. So this builds ego in us that, the system is not open. It's now closed and can only be accessed by a few people. And these few people may not have matured ideas to be able to multiply and expand. So the resources become lesser and lesser because we only take from it. We don't multiply them.
Okay, that's actually, and that actually brings me to also my next question. When it comes to weakness or empathy and the African leadership. So because in culture that often glorifies like toughness, especially when it comes to men, how can leaders balance the strength with emotional intelligence?
I mean, being tough doesn't mean you are emotionless. Being tough means I can resist. I can endure. Like in a gym, we don't go to the gym to feel good. We go to the gym to feel pain so that it can be able to build the muscles, stamina. So now, the empathy which we need to have is, or the element of empathy which we need to have is that if you went through pain, for instance, if you walked 5 to 10 kilometers to get to school, now that you are successful, you cannot let your kids walk 10 kilometers. Now you must change because you know how hard it is, what you missed out, and what caused the delay of your development. Now you need to make it easier for other people in order for them not to go through that. So at the moment, we're having these tough men who do not have the opportunity or the chance, or they do not just have mentors who prepare them to say, look, we need to learn, study, and understand women. Why do they think different from us? Are they inferior to us? Or are they the same as us but differently wired? So when we begin to think in this way, we will begin to find out what are the contributions of women and what can we not do which women can do. Because we were meant to complement each other. We were not meant to compete. So a woman is not better than a man, and a man is not better than a woman. Because if we were to ask men, go in the labor and deliver a healthy baby, they won't be able to do that. Nurture a baby by breastfeeding them. We'll never be able to do that. So there are things that women can do which we cannot do. And there are also things that men can do which women cannot do. But we are now being taught to live apart. We have independent women because of the financial aspect. I don't need men. I don't care about these things. But you will always encounter men, whether in the boardroom, whether in the office, whether in the family. These men will always be there. If you do not take time to learn, you are going to be in conflict with men wherever you find them. So when we study each other, it's not only for romance and relationship of being boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife. We should know that we are related at different level. We are citizens, we are colleagues, we are classmates, we are church mates, we are mosque mates, if you like. So at different levels, we are in the same boardroom. So these things need to give us an opportunity to say, we can't grow apart. We can only grow towards each other. We must take time to learn and understand each other, not for the benefits of who is taking advantage of the other one, but what am I contributing to the table that the other person may not be able to.
And then how can we actually bring probably the balance between women and men? Because I'm seeing now there's actually there's actually now an imbalance. The women were being left behind. Now it's like the women are going way ahead of men, and them bringing that kind of like a competition between the two genders.
I think for us, it shouldn't be a concern whether Mandela was asked when he was in the US that why is he associating with Yasser Arafat and Fidel Castro? Why not associating with the democratic people? And he was also asked why, the economy was led by the whites. Now there's a black person. How does he see these differences? Will it not bring problems? He said the problem is not whether it's the cat or a dog that is in charge. The question is about, do we have the person who is qualified? Because if we were to say it's only men who can interview, then we'll miss out on what you can offer to us. So the question will be, when we are in the room or when we are in need, the first question will be, who of us is capable to carry out this? Because when you bring the right skill, the right mindset, the right talent, they always work in empowering, in multiplying, in making smaller thing become bigger for all of us to fit in. But when you bring someone based on gender and color and whatever that you may qualify it to be, it will limit it only to that class, and it may be the danger that will stand in the way that might grow whatever that you want to grow.
Okay, interesting. And I think that also at the beginning you spoke that the love that you have for Namibia as a country. And so you calling yourself a lover of Namibia, how do you reconcile true patriotism with the reality of corruption we often see?
We do not need to wait for corruption to end to act in the faith of Namibia. There's a good passage in a very wonderful book called the Bible that says, when the wise are silent, fools take over. At least the corrupt, they are united. They are doing something. It's not that I am enjoying it, but they are doing it anyway. So they've got their class, they've got their clique. What are the wise doing? What are the uncorrupt people doing? Are they making the right contribution? How loud is it? Or they are only doing it silently? Why are we only selling the bad pictures? Where are the people doing the right thing? We need to sell that, more to our children so that we begin to, as the water passes through the poisonous well, the more it passes, it makes the poisoners weak. So if we only complain about corruption and do nothing about it, that means there will be more tactics which will be invented to corruptly gain something. Until we sit down and say, let those who are doing the right thing be in the spotlight and do more, then more people will join it.
Interesting. And is it possible for one to serve a nation without getting entangled in personal gain and systemic corruption?
I think there are a lot of people who have served Namibia without having entangled in corruption. I do not have the statistics, but I do not also assume that everyone who have been in the top echelon have stolen. It's not true. For as long as there's night, there's also a day. And for as long as there are bad people, there are good people in our midst. My concern is how much do we expose them? How much do we take care of the good thing that we have? Now we are beginning to hate each and everyone who is succeeding. My question is, are we going to have role models? If we qualify everyone who have succeeded to have been corrupt. So if we don't like what we are seeing, we must be the change that we desire to see. So we must be able to lift those people who are doing right and celebrate them while they are alive. I don't want us to wait for people to die and then we'll be there having crocodile tears. Yeah, this person did these things. If we said it when they were alive, they were going to do more. But when you say it when they are dead, that means the dead cannot change the reality that we have.
That's so true. Naming streets and buildings and stuff after the person is already dead.
It will not help. Maybe when they were alive, they were going to build a school. They were going to build a hospital. They were going to do this. But now they are dead. All our praises go on a dead tomb.
That's so true. Like in one of your articles, the New Era article, you wrote that information concealment is a double sword to success.
The information?
Information concealment is a double sword to success. So do you believe we have transparency problem in African institutions?
Traditionally, we have got so many secrets. Those who were gifted to heal, they could only allow a few who could access that. So you needed to be born in that family to get to access it. We have lost many good doctors because we did not have public knowledge. It was too secretive. This is why we have qualified things like when an old person dies, it's like the whole library gets buried. Because they keep the secrets So when they die with everything they know. And we have to start. So the life of being Black or being African is like every generation builds foundation. No one really builds a structure where people can dwell in. So you are born, you start. So you do what you do, you go with everything that you have, and then those that will come after you must also start the foundation. There were people who were, getting the stones from the rivers.
Yeah.
They turn them into metals that they would make knives, they will make eggs, they will make. Where are these inventions?
Yes.
We concealed the information. We limited people to access this knowledge. And here we are. We don't have our own indigenous knowledge.
And that's because we also put it in a bad picture. We make it look bad.
Yes.
And I don't know, like our own doctors, they are witch doctors, they are what? And then like the herbalists, they are also seen in the bed. Like just we make it like really bad.
Yeah, I don't think we define in context. We just define based on people who do not like or your competitors. Because when the pharmaceuticals traders arrived and they saw what their counterparts were doing, so they had to demonize it in order for us to fall in love with what they were selling. Now, if we have taken that and took ownership of this whole thing, that being African, being Black, indigenous Black knowledge is evil, then why did God create us the way He created us? Why did He give us that knowledge and wisdom if it was all bad? So they are the people, the pharmaceuticals that we are having, they've gone to countries where they've committed crimes and nobody demonized what they do.
Yeah.
So there will always be bad people amongst us.
Yeah.
But like I said, let us pick those who are doing right and become the role model and shine the light.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, can you just tell us about the vocational school and initiative that you have built? What gap are they filling in the community, and what deeper vision you have for the future?
Being a teacher, it has been a very painful journey for me because you teach kids when they enter grade 8, 100% of the grade 8 class, by the time they reach grade 9, it's only 40%. 60% fall into the cracks. Some drop out of school, some fail. I'm talking about the normal public schools where we send everyone. And this is not because these kids cannot learn, but because we force them to learn in one way. So all of them must become theoretical. They must become academicians or scholars. If they are not intellectually prepared to be able to do things, then we call them not qualified. Even at home, we suck out all the confidence and the self-esteem that they have. By the time they reach grade 10 or 11, they have given up in life because they think other people were born for school. And even those who reach in grade 9, some will again fail, and then maybe at 20 or 10% will reach grade 11. And then that 10%, it will reduce again for those who go to the higher learning institution. But then the dropouts and those who fall from grade 10, 11, or grade 9, we don't take care of them. Most of our institutions are only aiming high, like the English textbooks, which I used to read when I was in high school, aiming high. You must have done grade 11, you must have done grade 12. But there are people who are naturally born skilled. What are we going to do? Should we qualify them as unskilled, or we can do something? So this is how the vocational education was born. But when we take these kids, whether those who have fallen out of the system or those who have made it in the system, the qualification should be based on who got how many A's. It should be who is eager to innovate and do things and take risks in their area. So we take them as entrepreneurs who are specializing in different fields. You are an entrepreneur first before you are a plumber. You are an entrepreneur before you are a carpenter. You are an entrepreneur before you are a horticulturalist or an agriculturalist.
Yeah.
So when they have the business skill, practicing it from year 1 to year 3, meaning you don't need to tell them, it becomes natural in them. But one thing that I've learned is that at most of the vocational schools, they teach entrepreneurship as a subject and not as a practice. Now, if you just teach me to memorize that, you need to do market research, you need to do these things, by the time I'm done, you have taught me to be afraid of taking a risk. Even if you give me money, I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah.
But if it started from year 1, the banks must be able to interact with these kids. They must be able to write business plans that are living documents which can be transformed into a business. Not write it or draft it for marks, but do it because it is something that will become part of your life. So this is the approach that we are having, and also the exposure to the international skills. Like, we need to train young Namibians not to only see opportunities in Namibia. You find a youngster who comes from China, who stays in Onaena, came from China. How did they come to this point? They expose these ones when they are younger, so that when they are adults, they can find opportunities anyway. Can we be able to export within the African setup? Can we send engineers to Angola? Can we send doctors to South Africa? Can we send agriculturalists to Zimbabwe? So these are the things, the opportunities which we need to look at in order for us to resolve the unemployment. There's no way we are going to resolve it by only making Namibians to be like fish in water, that you can only see opportunities here. We want the foreign currencies. We want the skills that are coming from outside. So let us train Namibians to become continental citizens, global citizens, then the Namibian citizens.
Yeah, that's so true. And I really think there's a need of exchange programs between African countries.
Yeah.
So much. And was the institution, or probably like the whole vision, or okay, maybe let me just frame my question like this: was there probably a specific student or a moment from like a vocational school that made you realize it was all worth it?
At the moment, we are not fully operational. We are building systems. As we speak, we have got 5 students who came from the US, who are attached to the college for 2 months. So when they are interacting with the younger employees that we have, they are exchanging ideas, and it's breaking the barriers. And when we go around and do the trainings that we are having, the thinking is no longer the same. That limiting factor where I'm not worthy, my ideas do not matter, it needs an adult to be able to do this. It's the youngsters who are running these things. Most of the time, we sit in there and I give them the platform to do what they have to do. This week, Thursday and Friday, it's the youngsters who are doing the workshops at the American Embassy through the college. So you can now imagine this youngster who felt, I cannot do it, and now they are placed in the embassy and say, you are in charge. So by the time they are done, they do not feel the same as they entered into this system. We have signed an MOU with the South African Vocational College, which was established in a village that is transforming to being the world's most attractive site. They are the one who have nurtured and groomed and shaped these youngsters who are in the Ndlovu Youth Choir. It's a Ndlovu Care Trust. They've built a very good hospital in the village with all the specialists, and the villagers access this for free.
Oh my goodness.
They have started farms. They've started afternoon schools. So when we looked at this model, we felt it's a need in Namibia, we need to have this institution modeled the same way. We are not just going to be a vocational school, but a vocational school that interact with the community and solve the community problems. So this is what we are looking at. Building it is very difficult because our policies and people expect you to come with teeth. You can run as a baby, you can speak, you can do all the things. I think this is what our Namibian government need to be able to slowly stay away from. Because if we don't invest in those who dare have courage, we'll never be able to grow. And if people are starting, you know, we call them on board and say, before the policies, we need to groom you. Before the policies like what our president said, policies should not be a stumbling block of our success. If it's the one that is stopping us, we need to remove it and change, look at it and amend, and make it more friendly for these things. So we must not be police over things which we did not invest enough. So if the smaller lights are coming, bring them on board, engage them, see how they can be groomed to align to all these policies in order for them to be matured. But I'm at peace because we have the relationship with the South African institution. We have the new partnership with the American university. We have got an advisor who is sitting in Switzerland who is negotiating to get the experts who can help draft the curriculum, revamp the curriculum, and we want the best vocational training model which will start in Namibia and evolve to be rolled out to be exported to the entire continent, if not the world. And we are very particular about that, very intentional. The negativity cannot affect us because we've come from far to have been here.
Yeah, that's so true. And would you say like collaboration, because I think you spoke a lot of like partners and stuff. So in terms like of collaboration, especially being a Namibian or being in the African context, how important is collaboration for one to go far?
We are not here to reinvent the wheel. There's a wheel already. So let's borrow from where we can and just make this whole thing better. By the way, innovation doesn't mean create from nothing. Innovation means they are old materials we can take card boxes and glue and be able to form a shape of an elephant. You have innovated. But the boxes were already there. So collaboration have got a nature where what I cannot reach, you can. And your network can become my network. Your strength can become mine. So we don't compete, we complement one another.
So I'm also now very curious. Are you teaching Africans how to lead or how to obey?
Both. You cannot lead without obedience because the law says no one is above the law. So the best leaders are subjected to their own laws, which they've established. But the best leaders are very courageous and intentional when it comes to decision making. They take risks. Decision making, like I said, is the toughest thing to ever do in human life. The rest of the things are easy after a decision. But before you decide, nothing works. So the only way, I'm not teaching, I'm just demonstrating to say we can be courageous to make this decision and then follow through. We may fail and we may succeed, but the likelihood of us improving until we start deciding.
Interesting. And okay, like we're actually coming to the end of our discussion, but I really, before I actually let you go, I really want to know, like, if you could probably just step back with everything that you went through, like all the, like, just everything. If you could just step back in time and give your younger self advice, like one true advice about life and leadership, what will it be? Being very frank.
I would have married my wife at the age of 18.
Really? Why? Okay.
Yeah, I would
Just
have
now I'm
married.
interested.
She brought stability. I don't know how much I could mess up. If I was not having responsibilities, I was going to run immediately when I noticed that I owe the bank. So after GIPF, I could go and look for a job somewhere. But then, she sits down and say, "Pat, who deposited this idea in you?" If it's God, you think God is crazy that He will give you the idea and then just leave you? So the moment he bought into the idea of saying, we may not have food, I'll be okay. We will find other ways to survive. So I became sane, and it have made me to mature and to also, as a leader, be able to decide and not always be in between. You are not for it, you are not against it, you are always here in between. There's nothing like that in leadership. If you are always in between, you will be able to mislead people.
Yeah. That's quite interesting. I didn't expect that, but yes. So finally, 20 years from now, imagine you are watching a new generation of African leaders and African leaders that are actually rising. So what will make you smile and say, yes, we did it?
I think the whole thing of them feeling that they are enough. You don't need to change yourself to be a Chinese. You don't need to be a French speaking. You don't need to be Portuguese. You don't need to be British to be proud. God is not crazy to have created you. The family where you were born is not a mistake. The country where you were born is not a mistake. So you were placed there to make a difference. What can you contribute to the country to make it a better place?
Yeah.
When we see the crop of youngsters who think that way, I think we'll be at peace with ourselves to say we are moving in the right direction. Not children who feel, if I get a 5-year visa to the US, then I'm blessed. It's actually a prayer point for many people to just leave the country. And we are facing the brain drain. We cannot allow to have the best crop of our population go and impact, change other parts of the world except where they were born.
Yeah.
It's said we can't continue to live that way. We need the best crop to remain in the land. We need the best crop to drive the policies. We need the best crop to run the businesses. Because I was talking to a friend of mine, said, we need people with the right mindset to have money access. We need to have new millionaires who think of making Africa great. Not these people who have money. The first thing they think of is, I need to be in Dubai. I need to spend all the money until all the money is gone. Then I come back home. I cannot pay the employees. I cannot take care of the communities. I cannot take care of the family. We only come back to our senses when we don't have money. So we must have common sense, even when we have money. So we must we must nurture, we must intentionally shape a crop of youngsters who love the country deeply.
That's so true. It's like when you get money, the common sense also
Leaves us.
Leaves us. But yeah, thank you so much, Master Ngombe, for coming on Africa Speak. Is there anything else? Probably I can give you an opportunity. There's anything that I haven't probably asked you, something that you are really eager on, probably sharing with the viewers, or you feel like left that you really have to mention this?
No, I'm proud of what you are doing. If the media can be able to take these things, harness it, why can't we have you featured on television? Why are we only consuming content that is from outside?
Yeah.
We find some of these content which we consume on the national TVs and newspapers which are unnecessary. So some of these things must be ushered into the rooms where people are who are watching NBC to be able to learn this. But all I can say is that I have hope. I have hope. As a country, we are moving in the right direction. It will always be noisy and chaotic because growth is always painful, and it comes with a lot of things. So we must not be lost in the noise. We must not be lost in the chaos. We must take advantage of the crisis and rebirth ourselves to have an identity that will redefine the Namibianness.
That's so true. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And how can people connect with you?
You can reach out to my mobile number 081 61 52 861. That's my mobile number. You can reach out to me on my personal email, which is Augustino, AUGUSTINO .ngombe@gmail.com, or you can reach out to my work email, which is augustinus@wazesia.com.na.
All right. Thank you so much. And I will also just put your contact details also in the description. Thank you so much for coming on Africa Speak, and we are really looking for wishing you all the best. And also we are also going to see probably how we can, I don't know, probably in the future collaborate or complement each other to make sure that we reach as many people as possible and we affect as many African lives and Namibian lives as possible. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.